You want to do something or achieve something. So what's going to decide whether that something works out or not? What is the number one element to success, or the number one key to success? And when I'm talking about success, we mean things like not just success in life in general, or success in business, or success in your project. It can be success in your marriage. It can be success in a spiritual pursuit. It can be success in teaching your kids or connecting with your friends. It can be success in personal fulfillment. We just mean what helps you get done what you want to get done. What should you be focused on? What's the best thing you can do? And I think Adrian has a great answer to this question.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Great.
You better deliver, man.
I forgot what we were going to talk about. No.
So
I'm sorry to change. It was such a good lead-in, and I ruined it now. No, it's like these things that we're always talking about, right? I think you and I are really big on the fundamentals. Like we always talk about the little things that make big differences, all that kind of stuff. This is one of those things, and it's so fundamental because I think the thing that determines that the most is who shows up during those times, whatever the circumstances. And this gets complicated, and we're going to get into this, I think, today, and it'll be really interesting because, like you said before we got talking, this is fertile, rich ground. There's a lot that could be talked about here, you know. But who shows up? And one of the things that gets interesting is there's so many different who's. Like the who that's doing the work, that's operating your business or showing up at the job, is not necessarily the best who that should show up at home. You know, if I'm giving you financial advice, I've said this before, right? You're going to listen and be like, okay, if, you know, Warren Buffett's giving you financial advice, you're like, whoa, you know, or you know what I mean? Like it's a different who. Now, those are different people, so, but we have similar sort of differences running inside of us too, I think. I think we're going to discover that, right? I mean, where there's different levels of our own being that we're operating at different times in different ways, and getting in touch with that can be very useful. And it can be almost that stark too, right? You know what I mean? Like Warren Buffett giving you financial advice as opposed to me. You know, that's a pretty dramatic difference. Trust me.
Well, the reason why someone would take financial advice from Warren Buffett is because Warren Buffett has credibility.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think that's a really big piece of the puzzle to who's showing up.
Yeah.
Does who's showing up have some amount of credibility?
Yeah.
Now, this doesn't just mean do they have a history of success, right? Warren Buffett has credibility because he has a history of success. But we're not just talking about success in the world and knowing the skills. I mean, if someone shows up in an argument, say you're having a negotiation, an argument at home with your partner, what might give you credibility that you are acting in good faith in an argument is how well you are listening. Are you truly being present and aware and mindful of who you're talking with, right? Or who you're speaking to?
Are you the who that has to be right, that has to be correct, or are you the who that cares about the person that you're talking to? There's a
No, that's exactly right. And that leads to some amount of credibility. Part of what gives you credibility isn't just a history of success, but it is your intention. Like, do you need to be right? Are you there to be right? Or are you there to solve the problem? And it also adjusts your attitude. Which attitude are you showing up with? Are you in, I need to be right, so this is going to be a fight? Or I want to solve a problem, so I'm curious about solutions. That's a vibe. That's an intention.
Posture.
Right?
That's your word that you always, it's your
posture.
Sure. Authenticity is another word that it keeps going. As you say, credibility, I keep thinking that word.
You know, who shows up to have that argument with the partner? Who shows up at work to negotiate with somebody? Who shows up to negotiate the car price, right? At the dealership.
Right.
Who shows up to teach the kids? Who shows up to advocate for their cause? We just had this ideals and ideas discussion.
Yeah.
Right? Who shows up to advocate for their position really matters.
It does. It makes
all
all
you
the
show
difference.
up makes all the difference.
Yeah. I got to do it again. I've done this already, but because there's the levels, the hierarchy, in my opinion, right? There's the what for this conversation, right? Like the what you're going to say for your ideals, and then how you say it, which feels almost like who, but then there's another level, right? It's funny because if you really go into it, because how you say it matters a lot. It even matters more than what you're saying, in my opinion, because you can mess it up a little bit. But if you're saying it in a nice way or in a way that works, right? But then who? That trumps it all, in my opinion. Like that, because of the posture thing, I think, right, David? Like you say, because somehow everything's different if the right who shows up. You know, like there's just a different feeling to the whole entire thing. And again, you might say something wrong, or you know, the what might not even be quite right. But if the who is right, it tends to work out.
I really liked your example. Someone gives you $20. So, you know, if someone gives me $20, I can say, "Wow, thanks." Or I can say, "Wow, thanks."
Right.
Right? The what is the same, but the how has changed. Right. So in this hierarchy you're describing, what is almost at the bottom. Like what you're saying, what you're bringing to the table is at the bottom. Then comes how, or how you do it. That's the $20 example that I just gave. But next to me is why. This is your intention.
That's one of yours. Yeah.
This is your goal. And I think that really matters. Is your goal to solve the problem? Is your goal to, you know, what is the goal? The goal matters. Your why matters, not just to you, but to everyone else who you're interacting with.
Yeah.
And what, how, and why kind of all mix into this ball that creates who.
I think about this, it's funny too, because in our world, what tends to take the highest spot. And I want to say this because it's not that that's not important. I want to make sure that's why I want to take a moment to make sure that's clear. You know, it's not we're saying that what doesn't matter at all. Of course it matters what you say, but we tend to put so much focus on what you say, that we'll lose a lot of this other, and what we're losing is this depth. You know, we're going deeper and deeper, which then also what gets lost is this authenticity, I think.
And I think this shows up in coaching a lot. People come and say, "I want to achieve this goal. What do I need to do?"
Yeah.
Like what skills should I acquire? What do I need to practice? What do I need to do? And I say, well, there's a more important question than what do you need to do. It's who would you like to be? And the reason for that is that the person who gets it done doesn't just get it done because they do X, Y, and Z. It's because they inhabit who does that thing. They become the person who does the thing. And that's why who would you like to be? Because when you ask, what should I do? It's just so surface. You know, you're going to show up with no credibility. You might be the wrong person to do that at that moment. But if you ask, who would you like to be? And then embody what you want to become, then the what just gets done naturally because you are the who does it.
That's right.
Because it's so much deeper. It's not just a skill. It is an intention. It is a how. It is a what. It is a why. Right. And all of those things are so important. And like you said, we tend to stick on what and elevate it to the highest position.
Exactly.
And I think that's because what is the simplest, clearest thing.
Sure. No, it's true. Yep.
Like, what tools do I need to get the job done?
Right.
What skills do I need to get the job done? Okay, go do the job. Right? It seems really, when you start talking about how you do it or why you do it, those are deep, ambiguous, nebulous, confusing places. Right. And we don't want to go there.
Yeah.
But I think because we don't go there, because what is the only thing we're really focused on, that we leave a lot off the table. We leave a lot of our capacity for getting something done off the table.
Well, that's an interesting point too, right? Right? Because it can be done at a higher level. I think also what ends up happening is we find that it ends up not being what we wanted, you know, because of the what was, we put it as the most important, but there was so much more that was important and it slipped our notice. And then we get to be our age and we're like, why am I doing this? What is it? You know what I mean? that's the midlife crisis sort of situation. I mean, it doesn't even have to take that long all the time, but you know what I mean? And that's because we're not asking those questions. We're not looking there. We're just looking for the quickest fix. What is it, what's going to make me money? What's going to get me the girl or the guy, or you know what I mean? And we leave those places because they're a little murky. They take more work, Yeah,
you get there and you don't remember why, or you don't get there because you never asked why. Because why is a tremendous source of energy and motivation.
It is.
And a lot of people who make it, like, again, let's go back to musicians, like, why did some of these people make it when so many other talented people didn't? Well, usually when you hear their story, like, they were incredibly driven.
Yeah, right.
They had such a deep why.
Right.
And they had the right how they did it, how their attitude toward it, how they did it, whatever it was like this magic thing, but it wasn't just that they had the talent, the skills.
No, right. There's so many of those. Yeah.
It was that what plus how plus why all got together and created who. And then the who is who we found compelling.
Right.
I think about someone like a Johnny Cash. Mm-hmm. Right? And then I think about someone else trying to sing me a Johnny Cash song and it doesn't quite land.
Yeah.
Right? Or Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Right? they're going to bring me something.
Right.
Right? That Barry Manilow isn't going to pull off. Right? Right?
Right.
Or there's
said.
Frank Sinatra. There's all these people. If you think about why we love them, is because it's not just the song, because different people can sing us those songs, but they're not going to land. It matters who is singing that song just as much as the song matters.
Yeah.
You can take any of these famous songs we all love and you can say, what are the chords in the songs? Or what are all the words? Tell me all the words to one of your favorite songs. And a lot of people can't even do that.
No, right.
Why do you love the song? Oh, I just love to hear this person sing me this song.
Yeah.
It's who.
Yeah.
It's not
the
what.
feeling, which is the who, I think. Yeah, it comes from the who.
Which is, that's what we're actually exchanging.
Yeah. Interesting point, actually.
Is who.
Yeah.
That's the actual currency. That's the thing we're responding to. We're not responding to the words. We're responding to the words shared with us in a certain way from a person with a certain intention and place and credibility, right? It's the whole picture. And if you're not having success in something, it might be because all you're thinking about is what, and you haven't thought about how or why.
Or who, right? This is why it's useful to ask the question, who's showing up? Because if you don't, then you might not even be aware of who that is, right? Like, I know this is a real thing. When I talked about coming home from work, my work is the contracting was very intense in a way, right? I mean, especially because I'm running the jobs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm the telling everybody what to do kind of thing. And to show up home like that didn't work very good. And it wasn't intentional. This is what I'm trying to point out. But once I became aware of that, there were different who's in me. There were different parts of myself, and that I had to be mindful of who was coming home, and that I needed to kind of shift that energy a bit, you know what I mean? And because when I didn't, it wasn't very good, it wasn't a good situation. And I started watching that, transpire, it wasn't good. But once I started asking that question, who's showing up, then I could start seeing, I'm still being the contractor, not the husband, not the father, right?
It makes it a lot simpler. I think a lot of people, especially, they come in coaching and they're like, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? When do I need to do it? And it's like the impossible math, as I call it. So just let all that go. Who needs to show up to get the job done?
Right.
That part of you is already in there. Who is it? And let's focus on finding that part of you and just allowing that who to come forward. And then it'll get done. It's fine. It'll get done. Who would you like to be is such a powerful question because it includes orientation. It includes posture. It includes capacity. It includes intention. It includes your vibe. It includes all of these things. And once all of those things are in alignment, the right who shows up. And when the right who shows up, the right things get done and you have your success. Right?
That's it. That's it, David.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing. It's such a organic thing.
I never thought of it in terms of who. This all comes from you. You were the one who said who shows up. And when you said that, it instantly landed it. Because it's a very simple thing to say, who's showing up. And it's a simple thing to understand. There's lots of different me's. Which me is showing up right now? That's easy. But it contains everything.
Yeah.
It contains all of your abilities, all of your powers, all of your motivations. That's what shapes it all. And so you don't have to get in and untie every little knot and understand every crevice and corner of your psyche.
Right.
You just have to stay aware of who am I in this moment, and that is what will decide. Yeah. What gets
Perfect,
done,
David.
what happens.